It's time for the Jim and Terry Show.
At the pickup. It's no longer pick up the phone. I know you're at home. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Yeah, I'm right here with the finger. Oh, yeah.
Put your finger on the dial, my friend. I've got news items, and I haven't checked. I didn't get enough time to check to see what I sent you in terms of the previous podcast. But I did send you this one that I couldn't resist sending. That was the title of it. Couldn't resist this one, Jim. I sent it last night to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. How about this? MAGA prophet. Should be prophetess. I don't know whether you've heard of this lady, Julie Green.
I actually
does the Reawakening tour with Eric Trump and Michael Flynn, you know, the MAGA nutcases. She just said that God told her Canada, Iran, and Iraq are going to join forces against the United States, but God has set traps for them and they will fail.
Yeah, I for some reason, it was funny that you said that, because she pops up as I'm just casually going through my Facebook stuff. You know, there's nothing going on TV, and I just see if there's anything interesting, and I come across her, and I discovered that God really, according to her, talks to her like many times every day. I mean, every day, every single day. I've also learned through her that God's people are the Americans.
Yes.
I don't know if he's abandoned Israel. I haven't heard of her that much, like heard her that much, because I don't necessarily like the style of that kind of prophecy. I mean, I almost think I could do it myself, because it's so open to anything being fulfilled. You know, an event is going to happen in Lake Simcoe, and it's going to happen soon, and you will know that it's my hand that did it. Now, I can promise you, Terry, within the next couple of weeks, some idiot's going to get stranded out in Lake Simcoe. I know that.
On the ice.
Every year. So I'm not a fan of this kind of prophecy, and if she is a prophet of God, Lord, please forgive me. I'm sorry. You know, but all of a sudden, God seems to be a Republican, and he seems to be an American, or on the side of just America. And I find that weird. Now, maybe she's just a prophet towards America. I don't know. But if she's running around with these political leaders in some sort of a tribal kind of setting, then you know the prophecies are not going to go against those people you're sharing the podium with. Automatically, there seems to be some sort of pollution there. That's what it seems like.
Is God a propagandist?
Well, yeah, and that kind of thing, and we know that through scriptures, God does not favor an awful lot of things that are happening. One is lying. He does not like. He's the truth, according to him, and I believe that he's the truth. And he can't stand a lie. Matter of fact, I've said it many times in Revelation. He says, those who love a lie will not enter in. He just doesn't like lying. So I look at that, I try to hear it, but I also hear between the lines. And as I said, I don't know why you wouldn't. Well, she mentioned it in that one prophecy, something about Biden, taking Biden down.
Yep.
Now, I must remind the modern prophets, if you're going to click in to be prophets, if your prophecy doesn't come true, you're supposed to be stoned on it. You know, that's why I told you I was going to make a song or an album back to the rock pile, you know, because
you better just call it stoned. You'll probably get a lot more clicks.
Yeah. You better be sure you're actually speaking for God.
Oh, that takes us to the verifiability of utterances made on behalf of the divine. In this case, this lady, Julie Green, is in tight with the MAGA world, which takes us to the other people that tried to blow away COVID from the pulpit, who tried to claim that Biden did not win the election, so blow away and laugh out the election results. Laugh it away.
Well, yeah, you've got that, but of course, you know what? I look at Christianity different than all of these celebrities that have the hundreds of millions of dollars coming in. I
And
look
mega
at the
churches and jets.
Yeah, I look at the little churches that are struggling to help people. That I'm on a prayer request where we're praying for people and hoping people recover from illnesses and mental problems and different things like this. Uh, you know, I see a different Christianity than what you will find online, because the little churches like, you know, mine are seldom found, you know, and there's millions of them. So, yeah, there are those mega churches just like you. I'm really not attracted to them. I'm not attracted to the showmanship of my religion. I'm attracted to the childlike worship. That's what I'm more attracted to.
I think we use the word authentic to differentiate some of these things, because anything to do with MAGA and Trumpism has at its core lies. And I think that's the beginning of the end. You separate yourself right from there. And if these people are still going on about fake elections and fraud and don't acknowledge the election, I think get away from them. Get thee behind me, lying Satan.
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. And but there's a great divide, and this woman you said her name. What's her first name? Her name's Green.
Julie, Julie, Julie.
Green. I know
Green.
she makes me feel bad because I don't have the optimism she has. That everything.
Okay, so
fine.
optimism is infectious, but that doesn't make it God inspired.
Well, that's true. And as I said, I hesitate to say no, she's not of God. I'm a little jealous because I go for walks with God every day, and I just, he doesn't tell me like what he tells me.
Is God on your left side or on your right side of your shoulder?
Yeah, let's see.
Which ear is he speaking to?
Well, I would say in my walks, he's on my right. Or I'd rather say I'm on his left.
Okay, that's fine.
But
Just curious.
You get my point. And so part of it is like when you're a Christian like me and you're walking along and you're talking with God and you're saying, people like this. Okay, Lord, are you talking to this woman every day? Numerous times every day you're talking to her? And, you know, and she's to tell us, you know, these messages. I'm blown away with that because I often say there's very few people, Lord, that have ever heard your voice. I said, I know you talk to my heart and my mind and stuff, but very few people have heard you and had conversations like she has with, you know, like it's like sitting down having a coffee across from a table, you know, with God.
If you accept the record in Scripture, that would be a true statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess that's what I go by. So, yeah. So, anyways, it came. She's come to me a lot, but with me, I got to admit, I'm literally every other thing that I flip through has something to do with God now, and some of them I listen to. Some of them are very interesting, and some of them I go, yeah, I don't know.
I just sent you this link, so I'm wondering what else on Facebook is associated with MAGA, Julie Green, or Reawaken America Tour, or Eric Trump or Michael Flynn. Are our phones listening to us?
Well, the thing is I started getting things from her before you sent it to me. That's
Good.
why I was surprised.
Thank you. I'm not to blame. I'm sorry.
You sent it to me, and I went, wow,
I know that name.
Yeah, I am familiar with her. Yes. Apparently, you see, but some of those prophecies are kind of vague. Like maybe India, maybe Iran, and maybe Canada are in discussion of free trade or something like that. Don't mean they're getting together to attack the United States. You know what I mean? Or anything like that. So if you're listening in the news, just you know, on some of the fringes, if that's what you're doing, you can easily put a prophecy like that together and say it's from God. Now, I get nervous about talking like this because I don't know, maybe God's talking to her. You know what I mean? He talks funny as far as I'm concerned, and everything's in sort of this, don't worry about this, I'm going to do something. Not tell us exactly what he's going to do. He's just going to do something. So I'm suspicious of such prophecy.
Skepticism is very good, very healthy, and for me, it stops with the lying. It starts and stops with the lying. As soon as you can prove that, as you can with Sean Hannity, who reversed his course in that trial, as soon as you can see her hanging out with the MAGA crowd, you know this is not good. And she's against Trudeau, which is what's happening in MAGA, which is what's happening in conservative politics in Canada. Everybody's piling on Trudeau for whatever reason. Her reason is because Trudeau is with Biden. And they seem to be together, and they hate Biden, they hate Trudeau. They're both Democrats, liberals, and there you go.
Well, that's what I said. So, you know, you come to the conclusion that God is a conservative, and that God's people are the United States of America, and that's it.
And good thing God is an old guy, white guy with a beard.
Well, we don't know that either, but
but to feed the stereotype, which always seems to be at the core of anything to do with conservative fundamental evangelicalism, it's always
God is spirit, number one, so brilliant and pure you can't look on him. Jesus Christ probably had darker skin, since he probably was at least olive skinned because he was a Jew.
Yeah,
so you know, I mean, all you got to
they would have trouble with that.
Well, if you have trouble with that, then check your faith.
Well,
the Savior's the Savior, whether
that is at the core of it, my friends. Check your
faith.
faith. What do you believe to be true, and why do you believe it to be true, and what evidence do you have for it being true? Those are all valid questions. All right, so that one kind of got me because it's still floating around, just like, well, a lot of conspiracy theories. These people, Patricia White is the other one, who was a White House advisor for Trump. And that prosperity preacher, his name escapes me, who was puffing and laughing and blowing stuff out.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah, he's got like 3 jets too.
Yeah, you can look at the guy and check him out. But for me, if you're worried about money, you're not in the right business. Or maybe you are, if you're in America.
I tend to agree with you, and I think there's a lot of things that shouldn't be preached from the pulpit. A lot of things that we're there. The church is there. Oh, I don't need to go into it. I've done it 1,000 times. We're going to lose the 2 people we have left.
But that's just you and me, Jim. Okay, so let's move on to something else. I'll check out another sent item for you. That was just the latest last night.
Well, I want to remind you that we're 12 minutes and 42 seconds into this.
Well, since this one goes along with it, I will
okay. All right. We'll
throw this one in. And this is the Supreme Court has no... I sent you a video by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, which is called The Scheme. And it's based on the notion that U.S. Supreme Court justices, and although it focuses specifically on conservative justices, especially the recent ones that were appointed by the Trump to make the conservative-leaning Supreme Court be able to overturn Roe versus Wade, which is what conservative religious types like Franklin Graham and the other right-wing evangelical groups in the United States wanted. And he's going on to say they have no, there's no chain on the Supreme Court. There's no reins on them. There's no ethics rules for them to follow. They can literally do, and they do, whatever they do. There's no check and balance on the Supreme Court.
Well, it's just another reason why I lose confidence in mankind. I mean, you know, Paul McCartney wrote a song, and I forget what it was called, but the bottom line was, you're the law, because the law was going, but it wasn't holding up to its thing. So there's corruption in everything. We're seeing it everywhere. It doesn't surprise me even for a minute. So that's why I don't get bogged down in it. I think it'll be reversed. Eventually, they'll just put the Supreme Court judges in that they want, whoever they are, next, and on and on it goes.
Yeah, that becomes problematic.
Yeah, and then really, what have we got here? We don't have a real rule of law. We have a rule of well, I guess it's patting the palms with money and direction, and you know.
Yes, well, part of this has stemmed from the notion that Supreme Court justices should not be seen hanging out with political influencers. And that's the case of Brett Kavanaugh and hanging out with politicians of the right. And so the question is, well, if you're hanging out, what else are you doing with those? You're supposed to be above the bias,
Yeah, but
above the partisanship.
I agree, but I would say the same thing if, and I don't know because I don't follow it like you, but if judges are hanging out with the left and having
no, you're quite right. So when that happens, please raise it and issue it as a flag and a cautionary tale. You're right. Be free. What did I call it? I used a song and I called it the smell of partisan feet instead of Parmesan cheese.
Well,
yeah,
and I agree with you there. Like I agree that in the pulpit, I agree it in
yes.
legal terms.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lack of. I can't imagine now in this corrupt world the compromises that good people have gone and decided they're going to do in order to stay in power. I can't imagine.
We will get to that in another podcast. This is the Jim and Terry Show, signing off with all things what? Where did we start off? Julie Green and MAGA, and things that shouldn't be linked together, like truth and lying, cannot be mixed unless you are okay with this thing. They call it, the name escapes me, when you hold two contrary ideas in your head, and your head should explode as it, when you hold two things that are incompatible in one brain, boom, you can't do this. So cognitive dissonance should not happen. And if you ever find yourself in that case, you got to choose one or the other, God or Mammon.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, we'll be back
Last word,
for more interesting Jim and Terry. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.